will be joining when we are about to present. So I'm
Gotcha.
coordinating with her.
Okay. All right, everyone, we are live on YouTube. I'm going to start sharing my screen. All right.
You're not recording.
I know, I'm going to start that right now. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Boston University Student Government Senate. I'm not recording? No, I am recording.
Now you are, yes.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Senate 13. My name is Vinny D'Amato, Chairman of the BU Student Government Senate. Today is February 1st, 2021. As always, we're going to start off with roll call. So from the top, as usual, Savannah Majarwitz.
Here.
Evan Teplensky.
Here.
Achilles Stone.
Here.
Bella Newell.
Here.
Dhruv Kapadia.
Here.
Hassan Faruqi.
Here.
Janez James.
Here.
Jessica Zhang.
Here.
Spencer Kwan.
Here.
Lauren Hagee. Is it Hagee or Haji?
Hagee.
Hey, oh wow, I was off completely. Hey, G.
Hagee.
Hagee, wow. Hagee. Okay. Lauren Hagee.
Here.
Navia Katuru.
Here.
Shahaf Dan.
Here.
Sui Muowo.
Here.
Vivian Dai.
Here.
Sum Yu Guan.
Here.
Brandon Yu.
Here.
Richard Siegelman.
Present.
William Harrison.
Here.
Amanda Schneider.
Here.
Sophie Jin.
Here.
Owen Kelly.
Here.
Maha Noor.
Here.
Shireen Bakre.
Here.
Cassidy Balboa.
Here.
Joanna Shea.
Here.
Noah Grafe.
Here.
Amy Luo.
Here.
Michael Leone.
Here.
Jaylene Ramirez.
Here.
Selena Chen.
Here.
Mitali Kasliwal.
Here.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, you did.
Also, everyone, welcome Mitali to the Senate and Lauren as well. I forgot to mention before.
Thank you.
New representatives for Shaw and College of Arts and Sciences, respectively. Jayhal Jin.
Here.
Brianna Cole. Mehar Ora.
Here.
John Michael Aracena.
Here.
Ezra Bale.
Present.
Samantha Casas.
Here.
Celine Machin.
Here.
Shayna Evans.
Here.
Healy Massini.
Here.
And Juliana Torres.
Here.
All right, so with that, we have 40 senators today. That puts us at 27 votes for a supermajority and 21 votes for a simple majority. All right, so looking at the agenda for today, we have the president's address followed by the vice chair reconfirmation, cabinet updates, SEC updates, Senate amending bill 001, Greek life updates, and Senate resolution 14, a plaque proposal, and as always, closed out by open forum. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, thank you, Vinny. What's going on? Welcome back, whether you're on campus or not. Great to see everyone here. E-board and Senate our Senate leadership, the justices. I know all of you have been working hard over the course of the last month or so that we've been away on just student government initiatives. Some updates on my end. We have SEC here tonight for elections, but if you're looking to run, in a e-board capacity, feel free to reach out to myself, David, Naya, or Megan. We're happy to have, like a virtual coffee chat just to talk about what our role is. We could give you some insights as to, what we do on e-board on the day-to-day basis and what our role really entails. So feel free. we have eBoard has formed the dates as to when we'll be showing up for Senate, as in like platform updates. When our cabinet will be showing up. Today's the first time, obviously, but when they'll be showing up, budget updates, updates from the Boston Intercollegiate Government, and just some other stuff. NIA will be sending you all an email this week, so you have those dates. So if you ever have questions for us, you can ask us before then or have them lined up for those dates as well. We had an all hands meeting back in the middle of January 17th. NIA was the one who led it, but I saw many of you there. We had 80 plus people, which was amazing. We're planning to do another one in March. So if you have any suggestions as to, how we can make it better, if you want to present anything within it, feel free to reach out to NIA or any of us, but NIA will be the ones leading that as well. We're in the process as an eBoard of planning the end of year event, end of year celebration. Our goal is to do it in a hybrid fashion. If we need to do it all virtual because of safety, we absolutely will, but we will be working with SAO, Dean B, and other facilities on campus to hopefully make this a hybrid event. Stay tuned. It will be on April 23rd at 5 p.m. So save the date. A physical save the date will be coming to your emails within the next couple of weeks. But April 23rd at 5 p.m. Things like superlatives and all that stuff. We'll be keeping you guys tuned very, very soon. But that's in the works now. Recruitment is off to a great start. We have over 65 applications, which is amazing. Kat will be talking a little bit about that soon. But push it out, get people involved. If students don't know what they want to do in student government, that's completely fine. That's for us to figure it out. And that's the fun part. So let's push that out more. Recruitment should be open for, a couple more days, a week or two. So we're going to get rolling, but David, Kat, and the entire recruitment team have been absolutely killing it. And Splash was a huge success. Kat will address when our info sessions are really shortly. So definitely stay tuned. If you can show up to the info sessions, that would be amazing. And the last thing that I have to say is we'll be doing a Greek life update. Myself, along with Victoria, the president of the Panhellenic Council, will be giving that a little bit down the line today in the presentation, but excited to tell you all a little bit about what we're up to. Spend the next minute or so, or however long, answering any questions people have. But if you have any questions about anything Greek life related, please save it for then if possible.
Any questions for the president? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Mr. President. Moving on to the next point in the agenda. Vice Chair reconfirmation. So we have to reconfirm the Vice Chair once a semester. So, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Shah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. My internet is a bit unstable, so if I cut out, sorry about that. Yeah, for our two new senators and any new eBoard members that are here today, I'm Shashi Shah. I've served as Vice Chair for the fall semester. I've worked really closely with Vinny, eBoard, Chief Justice Andrea as well. And we've been able to get a lot done. I'm really looking forward to this next semester. We have a lot of stuff in the works. We've talked about some of it. For example, I'm working on planning a town hall for sometime in the near future. More information for that's going to be coming. And I'm just excited to keep on working with Senate and help all of you senators out to try to bring your visions for improving BU to life. So if you have any questions.
All right, floor is open to questions if there are any. Going once. Going twice. Senator Yu.
Hello, Representative. I was just wondering if you are going to be changing anything or doing anything different in this semester as compared to the previous semester?
In terms of my previous responsibilities as Vice Chair, I'm going to try to do everything as well. One goal I have is to try to get you information that I receive a bit quicker, if it's possible. Outside of the things that I've done in the past semester, I want to try to get more involved as a resource and a sounding board for senators where it's appropriate and applicable, just to make myself more available in whatever fashion is possible.
Any additional questions? Going once, going twice. All right, so seeing none, I'm going to close Senator Aracena. Okay,
It's okay. My question, I think I answered it myself as I was raising my hand, so it's okay. Don't worry too much.
all right. Well, seeing no additional questions, I'm now going to open the floor up to any points or motions. Senator Bale.
Motion to move into voting procedure on the confirmation of the vice chair.
Second.
All right. Motions to move into voting procedure. As you all know, 2/3 majority, raise your hands in the chat if you are voting in the affirmative. Yes, you are supposed to. Okay, so Natalia, so when we are doing procedural voting like this, Robert's rules, which I will explain to you when we meet later this week, we raise our hands in the chat just to make it quick and efficient. We will be switching over eventually to Turing Technologies clickers, which I will also fill you in on when we meet. But Mr. Shah, do you have a supermajority? I don't know why I'm asking you this, but I'm going to ask you anyways.
Yes, I have a supermajority.
All right, so with that, the motion passes. We are now in voting procedure. I will lower everyone's hand. And again, open the floor to any points or motions. Senator Guan.
Motion to enter into voting. I guess that would that be the term?
Yeah, motion to vote. Yeah.
Okay, motion to vote.
Second.
Second.
All right, simple majority now. Raise your hands in the chat if you are voting in the affirmative. All right, Mr. Shah, do you have a simple majority?
I have a simple majority.
All right, so with that, the motion passes. We're now going to vote on the reconfirmation of Shashi Shah for vice chair. Anyone who does not have access to the Slack, I know there's probably a couple of you out there who do not have access yet, private message me and I will send you the link to the voting form.
Point of inquiry, is it
Yes.
in this? Thank you.
Point of personal privilege. The link has been dropped in the Slack, correct? Mr. Chairman?
I was muted. I just put the link in the chat, sorry.
Thank you.
My apologies for a delay.
How dare you?
Impeachment.
I will give you all a minute and a half because I know some of the feedback from last semester was I went a little bit too quick on the form. So you guys have a minute and 15 seconds from here.
Mr. Chair, can you send the link to me over Zoom?
Just saw the message.
Thank you.
30 more seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so with that, voting form is closed. And with 34 votes in the affirmative, congratulations, Mr. Shaw, you are reconfirmed as vice chair.
Woot woot.
All right, so moving on to the next point of the agenda. Cabinet updates. So the directors, you guys know the drill at this point. Couple minutes for your updates, and then we'll have a huge Q&A session at the end.
Oh, I think I'm starting today. Sorry. I'm Kat, the director of recruitment. So we just had a very successful splash on Saturday. We had at least 30 different participants during it. Really consistent flow during the entire 2 hours. I was talking to so many different people. So as of right now, we have one recruitment form going out for some Senate committees, for cabinet staffers, and for their own each individual collegiate government. And we have 61 applications as of an hour ago. And that'll be closing most likely at the end of this week. And then we also have the SEC application going out, which I advertised during Splash. I do not know how many people have applied for that. And then another thing we advertised during that was we have 2 info sessions this week. We have an info session tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. And I wanted to put it out there, if anybody on Senate was interested in coming to one of these info sessions or both of them, and just giving a little background on Senate. I have all info, but if anybody specifically wanted to come as like more representative of Senate, definitely email me. My email is right there on the screen, Kat Murray as sgrec@bu.edu. Since we will be advertising some of the Senate committees there, since we do have them on the application form, definitely would love to have one of you guys on there with me. If not, not a big deal. I have all the information I need, and we do have somebody from the SEC coming on as well to talk about that. And we have 20 total RSVPs for the info sessions. I think 11 for tomorrow's and 9 for the next days, and there should be more coming because I did just send out an email from our people who just put their name down on the list to receive an email from student government after Splash.
Thank you. Director Bott?
Yeah, so essentially just an update for my department over winter break. We did have to do mostly a little bit of restructuring within the department. Our deputy director, Barrett, has left her position for personal reasons. And so she left the position, and I had to kind of go through the process of making sure that the teams that she was in charge of were now on to me. And so I will be leading now my liaison teams, and I've just met with most of them starting this week. So I don't really have like a big update for you because of that over the stuff I did last semester. So if you have any questions about that transition, let me know.
Thank you. Director Obergfell.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I'm just gonna go over some of my department's goals for this semester. So first things first, we're gonna have another college convo. I know a few of you here participated in that last semester, and we're gonna bring it back. We've also been doing we've been partnering with the Boston Public School System, and me and a few of my staffers have been going into 8th grade classrooms and talking to 8th graders about college and high school and how to prepare for that. So we'll be continuing that as well, working with the Boston Public School System to make sure that we can continue going into classrooms and having these conversations. But we also are really excited to do our college convo, which will be separate from like we won't be working through the Boston public school system to put that on. But we feel really confident with this college convo since we've done it before, and now we have some connections through BPS that we can use to make sure we have a lot of students who are able to attend. But one of the benefits of having a college convo is that we don't have to feel as filtered by having teachers or a college counselor there. I know we loved working with BPS, but definitely there's like a little bit of a barrier when students don't come of their own volition to our college convos. And also I think that we really had to, you know, put a positive twist on everything that we were saying. And of course we want to really like encourage students to continue on with their college career in high school, but I think it's really important that they can also have an open conversation with students and not have the pressure of having their teacher there or having a college counselor there. So we'll be continuing both the BPS mentorship, which is working through BPS and going to classrooms, but also having college convos as kind of an alternative option. So if students want to see us again and they don't really want to, they feel uncomfortable having a teacher or counselor there, that's a really good opportunity for them. The third thing we'll be working on is continuing our efforts from Vote Big. So just because the election is over doesn't mean we need to stop talking or thinking about politics and government. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So we'll be leading a social media campaign to make sure that people know what's going on in their local governments, they're interested, or they can find resources to do that. Last thing, I've talked to you about it before. We're going to be kicking off our Alston Crawl project this semester. That's where we're going to be partnering with local businesses near BU just to really highlight them on the BU campus, but also offer some discounts hopefully to BU students so then we can really get the BU community engaged with businesses around us that might be struggling with COVID. But yeah, those are my updates. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Director Lee.
Oh, hi, everyone. So basically, I'm going to go running down several different things. First of which, the student government newsletter is back. It's going to be published on Wednesday evening. We've already compiled most of our material for it. And we're going to be sending it out to people who were on our list before last year. We're sending it out on Wednesday night, evening night. But part of it is, you know, we're going to be putting the subscription on our website so that people can sign up and check out our newly redesigned website that is more or less full. Speaking of which, as for senators, how this is applicable to you guys is that we are still missing a few senators, either their bios or their pictures, both or one or the other. And so I ask for your cooperation yet again, senators, to fill in your information. I've reached out to Sashi about this, and I think he already has sent it out. If not, he will be sending it out. The ways to fill out and send information to me so that we can put it up on the website. Your pictures or your bios. As for our social media presence, we have a lot in store for this coming semester. Some of which is we're going to be getting people more involved into understanding, like, you know, general student life, helpful guides, you know, getting more engagement to talk to people by having some people come on, do Instagram takeovers. We're going to be featuring more of that, and we're going to be continuing our Humans of BU series. As well as introducing our StuGov intros in introducing more people from student government, besides those who are usually seen as the quote unquote not figureheads, the leaders of the student gov. So getting more into, like, you know, there's more to it than just the cabinet or the Senate leadership or something like that. So we're trying to get into more of those, like, thinking more into understanding what student government is really all about. So those are the major points that we've had in our department and what we're doing right now.
Thank you. Director Chumwala.
Hi, everyone. So I have a few updates for you all. So we basically spent most of our winter break doing some research on how we can expand composting on campus. And we're planning to work with the Environmental Student Organization to create a compost drop-off location, hopefully in South Campus or somewhere like centrally located. And so we spent the winter break like doing some research on like what our options are for the bins. And then towards the end of the break, once staff was back, we talked to BU Dining, BU Sustainability, and some people from facilities. So now we're kind of in the process of trying to acquire some funding to hopefully do a pilot program. And if any of you live on campus or off campus and would want to be involved in the pilot program, when that time comes, I'll be sure to let you all know. So the next thing is next week we have our third environmental justice panel coming up. So we do this in partnership with BU Sustainability and the Climate Action Group on the medical campus. So this environmental justice panel will be focused specifically on youth leadership. So basically activism and organizing within people our age or maybe a little bit older. And one of our speakers is actually a staffer with Anna in the City Affairs Department. So that'll be really cool to come support a fellow student government member. And the speakers will all be really great, some from like the Sunrise Movement and things like that. I was going to put the link in the chat to register for it, but I realized I cannot do that. So I will send it to Vinny and hopefully he can pass it along to you all, but also I've put it into Slack. And then lastly, we are working on some social media campaigns. So last semester we started the Sustainability Sundays series, like every once in a while we'll post on a topic on a Sunday. And so this month we are hoping to do at least one about Black History Month, celebrating some Black leaders in the climate or sustainability movement. And then we also this semester will just be continuing with that and doing some more overviews of different labs on campus and kind of explaining like the research that's happening on campus. And then lastly, look out for our vegan/vegetarian cookbook because it will be out soon and it has all student recipes in it. And my deputy director, Dan, has been like busy in a Photoshop or whatever, I don't even know what his design thing is, creating like a really pretty book for all of us to see online. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you. And yes, send me the link and I will put it in the chat here. All right, Directors Aboud and Regal.
Awesome. So I'll just run through some of the events that we have planned for this upcoming semester. The biggest one is the One Gala, which is going to be using one of BU's like mental health days that they took in place of spring break for a day-long event showcasing BU student talent, including networking, things of the sort. And then we have two separate like mental health awareness events with speakers coming in, Jesse Beyer and Andrew Kirshner. And then we recently reapplied for a TEDx BU Salon license, and this differs from like a normal TEDx event, which basically allows us to do like weekly smaller scale events. So maybe we'd have like 2 speakers and it'd be a lot more intimate. So we'd cap it at like 20 attendees. Because based on some of the feedback that we got from the previous TEDx event, they had said that it felt more like a lecture style. And then we're also looking to do an event that pairs kind of like a mentorship event where freshmen are paired up with seniors, just because feedback that we've gotten from other events we've done is that being a freshman right now is very difficult and it's hard for them to get out there and meet people. So we're just trying to make that easier. But that's all for me.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
as for me, just to like minor thing about what Thomas said, we actually can't do the One Gala or any like planned BU student gov event on the mental health days that the school has given us. So we're gonna have to find a different date for those. But as for other events that we have planned for the semester, we've worked with somebody named Jessie Beyer. She's an award-winning author and she does a presentation on how to safely and successfully support somebody who's struggling with their mental health. And she's interested in like coming to campus or even doing a virtual presentation about her book and about how you can support your friends or anybody else who's struggling. And we've locked in a date for that. I believe it is the weekend of April 17th or 18th. And she's making herself available for both an in-person and a virtual event. Dean B will approve which one we can do as the semester goes on, depending on COVID numbers. And hopefully we will have a few more events planned for the same weekend so that we can have sort of a whole mental health like event series for the weekend, and that'll be later in the spring.
Thank you both. And last but not least, for social advocacy, we have Deputy Director Thera speaking today.
Hi. Yeah, so our team has a lot of teams working on different projects, but a couple of the big updates that we have are from our bias and sensitivity team. And what that update is that Tracy Schroeder, we talked to her about putting pronouns on the Student Link platform, but we got a reply that there's going to be a new system uploaded in 2022. So we would want to work with the new team to try to get a head start and get the balls rolling on incorporating pronouns, maybe even into Blackboard and other faculty student trainings as soon as possible. And we also want to have live transcription as a standard BU Zoom administrative setting, and talk to Tracy about that. Another huge update is from our wellness team. We talked to the Director of Wellness and Prevention to propose a training module for students to be trained as mental health ambassadors on campus and provide better accessibility to SHS resources and other health-related resources that are on campus. And we have scheduled a follow-up meeting with her. And another one of our updates is that we want to incorporate mental health spaces into Self-Care Wednesday.
All right, thank you all. All right, so I'm going to open the floor up to a 10-minute Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, the floor is open. Senator Dye.
This question is for City Affairs. I was wondering what the department is doing to keep the Alston Sweeps COVID safe, and also just generally promote, being COVID safe in Boston as a whole, especially for BU students.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the Alston Crawl project, everything will be virtual. Any partnerships with any businesses, it's going to be like grab and go if they're a food place, but we definitely won't be encouraging any large gatherings. But it really will just be to highlight in a COVID safe way how students can still go out and support local businesses, even if it doesn't mean dining in, and using COVID safe ways in order to do that. So we definitely won't be promoting any large gatherings or anything of that sort. I really wish that we could do some kind of volunteer cleanup, but with COVID the way it is, unfortunately we can't. But everything will be provided with COVID safe options. It will really be more of a virtual campaign, a social media campaign, similar to what NAHA did with the Environmental Business Week. And so we'll be kind of following in those footsteps.
Okay, so is the entire program related around supporting small businesses, or are there other parts to it?
I think that the main point right now, which we're brainstorming, is it's mainly going to be focusing on businesses. But if we do have other connections in the area, we will explore that. We're definitely open to exploring that. But right now, I think our focus mainly is on businesses.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions? Senator Bale.
Thank you. For Recruitment Director Anvari, with regards to the info sessions tomorrow and Thursday, what platform are they being hosted on?
On Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Going once, going twice. All right, and with that, I'm going to close the Q&A period. Directors, thank you all so much, as always, for coming and giving these updates. Moving on to the next point of the agenda, we have the 2021 elections update. So Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vinny. Yeah, so I'm here. I'll keep it short and sweet. I just wanted to fill you guys in on what SEC has been up to since we last updated you guys, and what elections are going to be looking like in the next couple of weeks. So you can go to the next slide. So first, if you guys don't know, my name is Daniel DePonte. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Student Elections Commission, and we're the team who is responsible for running e-board and Senate at-large elections for BU student government. Basically, we write the rules, we host events, and we encourage participation in elections for student government. And that's our email there. That's our primary form of contact for any questions or inquiries you have about elections. Next. So I'm really excited to announce we have some upcoming events this week and next. First, February 3rd, we have an elections info session, which is just going to be a Zoom call with myself and the other co-chairs and anyone who's interested in running for student government, where we'll sort of give you a presentation about what elections are and how they work. And you guys can ask us questions, any questions you might have about what it's like to be a candidate, questions about the rules, questions about how events work and stuff, and we'll be happy to answer that there. And these links are all on our website. I'll also put them in the Slack. This week as well, we're excited for our leadership networking event. It's something we've been working on with Oliver. It's going to be hosted on AirMeet, which is a sort of virtual events conference platform for students who are, they know they want to run and they're looking for a team to put together, whether that's an e-board slate or an at-large party. And there'll be an opportunity to network with other interested students and also perhaps talk with current at-large senators to learn more about what it's like to sort of do the job. Yeah. And once the actual campaign period starts, that starts March 1st, we have our election events. So the meet and greet is going to be looking a little different this year compared to last. We're working with SAO because we are really excited to have an in-person, some sort of in-person component, just because we know there are a lot of students on campus and we hope it can be done in a COVID-safe way. So we're looking at having an outdoor event either at Marsh Plaza or Cummington Mall. Basically, you will have to register beforehand and show the green badge, but you will have the opportunity to interact with candidates in sort of pods to have those sort of small like scale conversations, socially distanced, of course, and sort of get to know the candidates as best you can. We are also considering including a sort of virtual component, maybe like at the same time, candidates who aren't present in person can be holding like, office hours or something on Zoom. And the other election events we're planning on doing is the town hall, also again on AirMeet, which is a sort of conferencing platform. And we'll be doing that over 2 days, March 15th and March 16th. And the other event we have is the debate, pretty straightforward, a Zoom webinar where candidates discuss their policies and answer questions from the student body. And lastly, to celebrate, we have the announcement dinner where we announce the winners. That's going to be March 26th. And we would like it to be a sort of hybrid event, possibly at the HTC, but that's an ongoing conversation with SAO. And we're also working with Dean B and eBoard for that. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, this is of course, the major part of elections are voting. So the voting period is March 22nd through the 25th. As always, you vote on your student link. We are pushing ahead with the unified ballot with college governments. And this year, we're excited to not only offer e-board elections for your college governments, but we're also going to be working with, I believe, Sargent and maybe some other college governments to offer direct election of senators. This is something that we're very excited to pursue, and we're excited to work with college governments on. And just a policy clarification, we will continue using ranked choice voting for BU student government e-board elections as we did last year. So with that, I think, the last reminder, the intent form to run for office, either e-board or Senate at large, is due February 15th at 11:59 p.m. That's a pretty hard deadline. I'll send the link to Vinny. It's been in the Slack. I think we're trying to plug it as best we can. And just a reminder to at-large senators, you need to re-register your party if you want to stand in the elections and be in the Senate next year. So yeah, thank you. I'll take any questions.
All right, Senator Teplensky.
Hello, I'm not sure if this is the right time and you can just say that, but I was just wondering, there were a lot of, I don't know the correct terminology, but complaints against like some slates. And I was wondering if you had any idea how SEC plans to change or necessarily add more rules on campaigning, especially when we know now we're going to be in a virtual setting.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something we thought a lot about last semester, and we're obviously always working on. So we've amended the election rules substantially to sort of adapt to the virtual campaigning space we find ourselves in. In terms of, I mean, the complaint procedure as a whole will function as it always has, where we take complaint forms from students, we evaluate the complaint, hold hearings, and assess punishments as necessary. But in terms of sort of, punishments and stuff, we've added sort of a 3-strike rule, where if we believe candidates are sort of acting, very out of order, we can assess strikes against them. And if, there's a sort of escalation there, hopefully it won't come to pass, but those are sort of safeguards we've added in. This is going to be a largely virtual campaign, as it was last year. So, I mean, there is that does sort of limit like the potential complaints that can arise, because it's going to be over social media. But we'll be monitoring everything as we always do, and we also, we rely on students to field complaints, as well as sort of keeping our vigilance. So yeah.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Senator Bale.
Yes, so you had mentioned that the town hall is planned to be hosted on AirMeet. From my understanding, AirMeet allows people to go table to table. Is that correct? So just out of curiosity, why the choice to use AirMeet rather than a Zoom webinar format?
So that's a great question. So AirMeet, it allows people to go table to table, but you can also have sort of main sessions where someone can make a speech and sort of talk about their platform, and then do a sort of Q&A session. The reason we settled on AirMeet is because Remo was originally the platform we wanted to use, but BU is not allowing student organizations to use Remo, and they've encouraged us to use AirMeet as a substitute. So yeah, that's a little off topic, but yeah, the main idea is the main event sessions where everyone is sort of forced to watch the speech, and then you can sort of break up and do Q&As and interact in a more personal way with the participants. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Going once, going twice. All right, and with that, I'm going to close out the Q&A session. Mr. DePonte, thank you for coming in and speaking today. And again, reminder, just because this is important for everyone, I'm going to intend formed February 15th, 11:59 p.m. Every at-large party in this session right now, if you guys want to rerun and be in the Senate next year, you need to fill this out. The Senate chair has no power to put at-large parties in. It is solely based on this election. So please, if you plan on running your party again, make sure you re-register. All right, so moving on now to my presentation. This is fun. I haven't done one of these in a while. All right, it's weird. I'm going to be timing myself now for 5 minutes. So, hey guys, taking off the Senate chair hat here. Today I'm here to present to you Senate Amending Bill 001, Senate Leadership Amendments. So what changes am I proposing today? So first, I'm introducing 2 new roles, the Senate Press Secretary and a Chief of Staff. So the Press Secretary basically is going to be managing any social media communication for the Senate and giving the Senate that dedicated social media voice that we don't have right now. This is someone who's be working in tandem with Director of Communications and the whole Department of Communications, but also making sure that we have a person who is solely focused on the Senate and can make sure that we are publicizing ourselves as well. And then the Chief of Staff is an assistant to me and Shashi, who can just help us run Senate better, because something that 2 of us have realized over the last couple of months is we want, as we're bringing Senate to this next level, as we've been working on all the changes that we have, we do need more help in leadership. It is a lot for 2 people to do. So this Chief of Staff is not someone who would be someone who's appointed and confirmed by the Senate, but just someone who I would hire technically as a personal assistant at my discretion if needed, not required, not voted in, just someone who can be an assistant to myself and Shashi. And then I've also introduced slight changes to the Senate Chair candidate eligibility as we are slowly progressing to that. And I will speak more on that probably in the next Senate meeting, because I know that's probably on some of your minds. Right now it says candidates instead of being, it says candidates right now are any current or former member of student government. And the change here is to make it to be any current member of the Senate or the legislative branch in general. The reason why I want to make this change is because I think I have actually on the next slide why these changes being proposed. So to speak first on the Senate chairs, to continue my thought, it's of my opinion that a chair must be as in tune with the current state of the Senate as possible. And I feel that this amendment will help to ensure that future chairs are able to do that because they are coming specifically from the legislative branch and they are current people in the legislative branch. That means they will know everything that's happened over at least the last year and would have connections with people who are going to be in the Senate the following year. I spoke a lot about the first point I'm realizing now, but just to reiterate, having our own press secretary will work to push more Senate focused material while also working to increase collaboration with Director of Communications. Because to be quite honest, everyone, I am not the best at social media. It is not my forte, but having someone here who's dedicated to help us, I think could really help us out. So that is the quick presentation. I'll now open the floor to any questions, but also just as a reminder, we are not going to be voting on this today since bylaw amendments follow the same amendment process as the Constitution. There has to be a 1 week waiting period. All right, Senator Dye.
Hi, I was wondering, the job of the Senate press secretary, are they solely confined to social media? Because in my mind, the role of a press secretary would be to interact with press outlets. And I think that releasing press releases to even like non-student publications within the city of Boston would actually really increase student engagement with student government and be a really good move overall and just, taking Senate to the next level. So
Yeah.
I think that kneecapping the press secretary in confining the role to social media would not be a good idea.
Oh no, I misspoke there. The role is not kneecapped to social media at all. That's just, I know that's a lot of what we do. If you look at Article 6.4 of the Senate press secretary of my whole entire amending bill, it says there the Senate press secretary shall communicate with all media outlets. So that would be the perfect opportunity right there to introduce your press releases that you were talking about as well. But we're also already going to be doing it this semester too with the newsletter that's going to be put out by the vice chair. So the press secretary would most likely be able to assist with that.
If you don't mind, I have just one. So
I know if you have, I want to get through, we have a lot of people's hands up, so I want to get through theirs first, and then we can come back to people asking follow-ups, if that's all right.
okay, no worries.
Senator Bale.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm very appreciative of this bill. I think it's a great idea. Just a quick question and thought with regards to the Senate press secretary.
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be any language here regarding for one thing, what social media accounts are in question, and also whether or not there is going to be an email account that is associated with the Senate as a result or with this new position. So is there an intention for such a thing? Because I know that was something that lead senators had discussed with you prior. So that is my big concern at the moment is, will there be an availability for the Senate to communicate more directly with the student body through an email that is made by the Senate press secretary?
So your first question was about social media accounts, correct?
Yes.
Or was it just okay? So with social media accounts, we plan on working right now with the Director of Communications. I wanted to wait a little bit on finalizing what specific accounts we had until I had more feedback from the Senate at large with regard to the language of the bill. So that way I don't go too far forward without making sure everything is approved by you guys first. And then with regard to an email to the student body or an email specific to the press secretary?
An email specific to the press secretary, and just because from what I understand about this bill, it seems that the press secretary is a sort of communications intermediary between the legislative branch and the rest of the student body at large. And also between our interdepartmental communications between us and the executive board communications. So I guess my question is multi-purpose. Is there an email account that will be dedicated specifically to this press secretary for press secretary business, or will there also be another email that is connected to allowing this messages to be broadcast from the Senate directly?
Okay, so Right now, it's just going to be all run through my email, but I think as we introduce more roles, that's definitely something we can do. Just because I know it can be a process at times to get those emails, but that is not a discussion I've had at this time.
Okay, thank you.
And with regard to managing communication between Senate and E-Board, I believe that responsibility actually falls to the vice chair because they are responsible for handling any intra-student government responsibility, if I'm remembering that clause correctly of the bylaws.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome. Senator Guan.
Hi, I was just curious because there was this one line that brought up the fact about how you wanted to keep the candidates currently as people that have had experience in the legislative branch. Would they still be acting as like part of whatever role they are in student government? Would they still be acting as senators, still acting as cabinet members while in these roles?
For the Senate chair role?
No, for either the press secretary or the chief of staff role.
Okay, so yeah, so right now, I don't actually have any legislation in there limiting who they can be, because that's still up in the air. I couldn't figure out in my head whether or not I couldn't justify it enough to not give the opportunity to senators if they so choose to do it. But if that's something you guys feel important in one way or another, we can definitely work to amend this bill over the next week and have it brought forward in the next meeting.
I guess I should clarify my question, but I was saying that would they still be acting like, would they have like basically two positions to hold? Would they
Correct.
be
If under the current language, they would have two positions to hold if they were to run for the position and be chosen and then confirmed.
Okay, thank you. I have a follow-up question, but I'll just yield it so other people can get their questions across.
Thank you. Senator James.
Hi, yeah. So my question is, so the chief of staff is like supposed to be like an assistant for you and the vice chair. So
Yes.
I know in the past, previously, there haven't been assistants for the chair. So my question is like, what happened? Like what's changed this year for you to feel like that there needs to be this kind of a role?
We have been doing a lot this year, Shashi and I. And as much as I would love for this to be my full-time job, I am a full-time student. Shashi's a full-time student. There are times I fall behind in emails or sometimes I just miss things. And just having an extra person here that I can, if I feel the need or if future chairs feel the need to appoint at their discretion, I feel would really help. The chief of staff role serves as the same function as the president's chief of staff does, where they can also appoint at their discretion. That's actually where I took the language from. So it's really just because this is not my full-time job. I am a full-time student. I will be the first to tell you I need help. I need more help to make sure we get everything done that we want to get done.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Senator Casas.
I'm a little apprehensive on the role of Senate press secretary, just because I think it takes away some of the roles of what the communications department is already doing, along with like sharing social media accounts. Just from a PR perspective, somebody really deep into PR once told me that you don't want multiple people having access to one account. And so one, what do you see this as being necessary in the way of, do you see it creating more division than helping create a bridge that you might think it is? And two, don't you think instead of bringing StuGov together in one account, it isolates us even more and might confuse the student body? Because I definitely see that as being a possibility.
That's a really good question. So the bridge or division, I think it is more of a bridge because it helps to distribute the work more evenly. I envision this role to be working in partnership with the director of communications, and I have it vague as is because
Vinny?
I am, yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just jump in as well on that.
Go right ahead.
So what I've discussed with so internally on our end of things, as Vinny said, we're both full-time students, and we've been pushing to do a lot more with Senate and expand Senate and how involved we are with the student body a lot more, and hopefully you see that this semester. But in and of that, we've ended up with trouble in getting the communication department, all of the stuff that they actually need. And so this is going to serve as basically a point person on the Senate side of things for not directly the communications director, but whatever projects are going on that Senate's involved with, and so on and so forth, for the staffers in the communications department to get all of the answers and materials that they need at an adequate pace and prevent, stagnation and the ball getting dropped and so on and so forth.
Can I say something to that real quick?
Oh,
just really
yes, go
quick.
right ahead.
The communications department historically has aided in creation and publication, not just social media planning. And so once again, my question is like, what is stopping this from becoming a middleman more than you think? Because I think this could be a railroad that divides the executive branch and the legislative branch more than you think, personally.
Okay. All right, so I want to first address your other part too with the confusion, because I know I haven't answered that question yet. To address the confusion, the way we stand right now, majority of students don't even know we exist. And I want to see this position bring Senate more to the forefront and use the powers that we have to bring Senate more to the forefront of students' minds and help to clear up that. And to have it more as a middleman, I don't see that yet, but if you want to meet this week and we can talk it over, that's why I'm glad we have this 1 week period, because I don't want honestly any amendments to be proposed today, because I know we have a lot to do still on the agenda, but I am more than happy to discuss this at length because I would love to see his position come through, and I would love to see us get a dedicated person working to put the Senate on social media, to media outlets, and just get the word of what we're doing out more. With that though, we have elapsed time with questions. So I'm going to lower everyone's hands and open the floor to any motions. Senator Teplinsky.
Motion to extend Q&A for 5 minutes.
Second.
All right, so with the second, we are looking for a 2/3 supermajority here. Everyone raise your hands in the chat if you are voting in approval of this. Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a supermajority?
I have a supermajority.
All right, so with that, the motion passes. Q&A has been extended by 5 minutes. Senator Teplinsky, do you reserve first right to speak?
I apologize. I'm not sure how that's phrased, but I would like to speak first. What would I say in that situation? Point of personal privilege. May you answer that?
Yes, you say yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
well,
I
if
reserve.
Yeah, you made the motion.
Okay.
You can reserve the right to speak first.
Okay, thank you. I've always wondered that. Thank you. So I'll just, before I get into the question, Sammy and I, we always disagree, but today is one of those days when we do agree. I hate saying that, and I'm not sure how Sammy feels, but it is like, it just shows that there is some issues, I think, and this needs to be a little bit more thought out. But my question, which I think was echoed by Ezra, is if this is going to be a point person to the executive board, don't we need equal access to emails? And therefore, wouldn't it make more sense to just send emails through stugov@bu.edu? I have a follow-up.
This isn't a point person for e-board. This is a point person for Senate. I don't know if you misspoke there or because you said point
No.
person.
I guess I'm saying is, if we're trying to send out these emails, or if we're trying to send out these newsletters, if we're trying to post on social media, like what, I guess in my mind, there doesn't seem any point in reinventing the horse. We should not create like a Senate StuGov Instagram. We shouldn't make an email, because now we have to work on getting followers. So I guess, are we going to have access to the typically executive board's account?
With this, no, but it's a conversation we can have with the executive board, because that email is reserved to the executive board because they won the general election. They have the power to send out one monthly email once a month. So that is not something that this is going to change at the moment. And I leave it vague with regard to the other emails and the accounts, because ideally this person would be working with the director of communications on a solid plan. But again, if we want to flesh it out more, hold on, I know someone's about to make a point. Let me just finish this. If we want to flesh it out more over this week, more than happy to have discussions about that. Who was making a
agree?
point? Yes.
May I clear up some of the questions that Senator Toplinski had?
Go right ahead.
So I think that we haven't really, and this is on my end, I haven't really specified that well to you guys about the newsletter. So in terms of all of that, and this also hopefully addresses the two, like the e-board and the Senate sort of, and the legislative branch clashing. We are not going to try to reinvent the wheel. We're not going to try to outpace communications department and the BU Senate Instagram and stuff like that at all. What we're going to try to do with this instead is, instead of the back and forth where right now we go, all right, as I mentioned, we're working on this newsletter to get people informed about what's going on with Senate events that you guys have and that committees have. So say we have all of that. Instead of going back and forth with communication about, hey, we have this stuff going on, and they're like, all right, get us this information, and then there's that back and forth. The press secretary is just going to compile all of it, including that newsletter that I said. So there's this event going on, these resolutions were passed in Senate this week, and just take all of that and pass it on to communications. And then the communications department, and I've talked with the communications director about this, about the logistics of starting to figure out how this is going to work. We don't have the position yet, so we're not that far along with who specifically we're going to be talking to on their end, but they're going to take the information and pass it on to communications department. And then the communications department, who does a really good job of figuring out the social media stuff anyways, is going to get it out. And so I hope that clarifies it a little bit, if the terminology that I'd used in the past was sort of confusing and led to some of this.
Senator Kelly.
Hey, so I was wondering if there was any eligibility requirements for the press secretary and chief of staff, because I know you wanted to do it for the Senate chair. So I just didn't know if you were thinking of anything like that for those two new positions.
Right now, the eligibility is a undergraduate student in good academic and judicial standing. I mentioned this before. I couldn't find enough reasons to limit it to not include senators or anyone else in student government, just because I couldn't find enough reasons to justify it. But if that's something you guys want to do, again, more than happy to having discussions and working on amendments.
Thank you.
All right, one more question, Senator Guan.
Hi, so kind of just echoing some points that were made earlier by Evan and Sammy, I just wanted to say that wouldn't that technically, the role of the press secretary, like I believe it's a good idea just to create like more of yet another open line of communication. But doesn't that mean that there just needs to be more Senate dedicated communication department staff? If we have like a small like group of like staff that are in the department, the communication department, they can focus on creating exclusively like just like Senate content, and the press secretary can be used as a position that can be like a liaison between like Senate and comms. But of course, as Vice Senate Chair like clarified, communication should ultimately create like post the news and updates on Senate to like create like more of a united front. But would that be like, should that be like another like addition into the addition of the bill, or like not the bill, but I guess like the announcement of these roles?
I think when you're talking about with the more specific team within the Department of Communications, that would probably have to be an e-board bylaws amendment. This is just focusing on the Senate bylaws and just giving us a person that we can dedicate to.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. And with that, Q&A time has elapsed. Again, I'm going to lower all hands, open the floor to any points or motions. If not, Senator Casas?
Are we eligible to move into discussion about this?
I believe we are, actually, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Motion
we
to move
can
into
definitely go in.
discussion for
How long?
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Second.
All right, so with that, we're looking for 2/3 again. Raise your hands in the chat if you are in approval. Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a supermajority?
I have a supermajority.
All right, so with that, the motion passes. We are now going to move into a 5-minute discussion on Senate amending Bill 001. Senator Casas, do you reserve first right to speak?
I do.
All right, floor is yours.
I've been speaking a lot in Senate this year. So this proposal was something that I've been passionate about for maybe 1.5 years and chose not to pursue as a senator for many reasons. I met with 2 former communication department chairs. I met with 2 different Senate chairs. I met with judicial, and as we approached this more and more and more, it came with more problems than it came with solutions. I think that we're forgetting that the communications department does not just represent the executive branch, it represents all 3 branches, not just legislative, but also judicial. And so because of that, they have a whole committee that could be doing this. And so instead of creating new positions in our Constitution that, in my opinion, aren't needed and are going to create more communication issues than fix, I just can't, in my opinion, go forth with something like this because, you know, I've sat and I've worked through these things for 1.5 years, and, you know, Vinny and I can, or Senate Chair D'Amato and I can sit there and discuss, but, you know, I've worked through these things, and it, in like a PR standpoint and a representation standpoint, I truly believe it's going to end up confusing the student body more and creating more division between the branches, which I think this year we've done really good strides in mending. So that's just my opinion.
Mr. President.
Hey, so I know there's a lot within this bill. One of the ideas I had was maybe just separating some of this stuff. Like, as someone who's worked very closely with both Vinny and Shashi, I do think a chief of staff is necessary. They're working very closely with the administration this past semester and during over break, and I think that's a role that chief of staff can really take on. I completely understand the argument about the press secretary, and I do think that's a discussion that we can continue, you know, in the future. But I was wondering, you know, what people thought about, you know, separating some of this stuff so we can push aside the press secretary for this minute and focus more on the chief of staff, the slight changes to the Senate chair, candidate eligibility, and really, you know, move forward with the other things, because I know there's a bunch of points being brought out.
Senator Hagee.
So I have 2 quick points that I want to make. Is the first is that the Senate has a say in the election of the Senate chair and co-chair. And so if there's going to be a chief of staff that's also going to be working on things that concern the Senate, I think that it's reasonable for the Senate to have a say in who that person is. Just because the e-board's chief of staff doesn't require any kind of confirmation doesn't mean that the Senate one shouldn't. And secondly, I don't understand why we're being unnecessarily bureaucratic by having a press secretary when we could just give the Senate more equal access to social media accounts, and that instead of just, you know, going around and making things unnecessarily bureaucratic, we could make things a lot more simple by just doing that one thing. So unless people are like really opposed to that, it seems to make a lot more sense to me.
Senator Zaplonsky, do you mind if I hop in quickly?
Yes,
I'll make
and
sure
then
you
I'll,
get to speak. All right, so to
thank
answer your point about the chief of staff, the reason why I'm not having it be voted to confirm is because this person holds no power at all except to help me and Shashi, or the chair and the vice chair, plan things out and send a couple emails. They are not they're not going to be they have no responsibilities except assisting us. They're not going to be running the turning technology stuff. They are not in line to run the meetings. If myself and Shashi were both going to be out. So to me, the reason why I did not put them up for a confirmation vote is because they are just here as an assistant and in reality don't hold any power when it comes to control of what the Senate chair and vice chair do or do not. And with regard to making things more bureaucratic, I believe you spoke about how instead of having a press secretary, just have someone within director of communications. And to me, what I see more of, and I think this will help to address my thought process with other people, is that Department of Communications has a lot to do with e-board, with judicial and elections, with the Senate. And we just want to make sure that we have someone whose Senate is at the forefront of their minds at all times. And we could theoretically create a subcommittee within the Department of Communications and the executive board's bylaws. I know the Senate bylaws, so that's why I wish to create this, because it made more sense to me to have this person be under the chair rather than the Department of Communications. So with that, I'm going to give the last point to Senator Teplinsky, and then the discussion time will elapse.
Thank you. So I just first want to echo, I was about to say Professor Casas, Senator Casas and Senator Hagee. But just moving on to not reiterate that, one of the points that was just brought up, which like Senate Chair, like we so agree on this, like no one knows about student government. No one knows. And if you ask them what CES student government is, it's even more of a confusion. And it's even like the bureaucracy. So I so completely in my heart agree that we need more outreach. But I think the way of going about that is first contacting Boston U to repost everything we post. Or not repost, but sharing it, getting them to actually showcase that we are the students and this is the students' voice. So if you want to have a say in it, get involved, become a senator, become e-board. A second thing is we need to have orientation talk about us at orientation and just have students follow our Instagram right off the bat. I think that would be a great way. And then just the third thing I thought of that really would like negate a lot of the issues I think we've run into with not having our own social media or our own communication. BU Spirit did this. We basically just went to Barstool BU and we went to Black Sheep BU and we just clicked follow on everyone. And a lot of people will start following us back. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Mr. President, the discussion time has elapsed. Do you?
Never mind then.
Okay. So with that, discussion time has elapsed. The floor is open to any points of motion. If I see none, I will move on to the next point in the agenda. Senator Bale.
I'd like to motion to extend discussion for 2 minutes.
Do I hear a second?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I would like to be able to defer that time to Senator Faruqi because we have just discussed matters of this bill having to deal with the Rules Committee, and they just want to put that forth to the Senate.
I did not hear any second.
Okay.
Unless there was someone who's
second.
Okay. So with that second, we're looking for a 2/3 majority vote to extend discussion by 2 minutes. All right, so I only have 20 votes in the affirmative, and something that I've realized from last time is that I've not counted abstentions in the past, so to try and just improve meetings being run. So we have 20 votes in the affirmative right now. I'm gonna do this on an honor code right now because we don't have any official way of tallying this. Is there anyone who is abstaining on this vote? I will lower everyone's hands. Seeing no abstentions, the motion does fail. Are there any additional points or motions before I move on to the next point of topic? Senator Faruqi.
If people feel like there needs to be additional discussion on the rules points of this, we do have a committee, the Rules Committee. We can defer this to committee and deal with it in more detail there, and any senators or other members who are wanting to be involved in that process can join us in that. So if people feel like that's necessary, we can have a motion and people can vote on it. So with that being said, I move to defer amending Bill 001 to the Rules Committee.
Second.
Second.
Point of inquiry. How long?
Yeah,
will,
point of inquiry.
How
Sorry.
long will it be in the Rules Committee? And like, how does that timeline work?
You know, that motion has never been done before. So judicial representatives either help me clear this up, or we can just wait until next week and I can unofficially send it to Rules Committee while we don't put our justices on the exact spot and make sure we have a fleshed out answer. Does that work for everyone? Because there's the 1 week waiting period anyways. This isn't going to be voted on today, regardless of whether we delegate it officially to Rules Committee or not. I just don't know what the official process is for that. Any objections to that?
Yeah,
all
we
right.
need an official process. I guess if we don't, if it's too much trouble. But
Well, you made a motion, so I want to make sure we have an answer for that motion because it's not on my pieces of paper that I have right here.
I appreciate
So probably good for the notes for transition for delegating to committees. All right. So with that, I'm going to lower everyone's hands and move on to the next point, our next point in the agenda, which is the Greek life update.
Hello, everyone. Hello again. How's it going? So I will be presenting on behalf of IFC, and I would like to introduce Victoria. Victoria, if you want to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm Victoria Bond. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the president of the Panhellenic Council. So I'll be helping Oliver fill you in on what we've been up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get to it. At the end of last semester.
Sorry, a point of order.
Oh, yes.
Did we vote on the last motion or did you ask for unanimous consent?
I don't know what that motion technically requires, so we're just going to say I unofficially am going to send it to the Rules Committee while we wait to get an official clarification on that, because like I said before, I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and I want to make sure we have the right answer before we go further with that. So on the honor system, I will send it over to Rules Committee and we will get a better answer for that next week. So.
Should I?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, yes, please continue. Sorry.
Cool. So in the last 3 weeks, I would say the last 2 weeks, the last week and a half before break ended, Victoria, myself, and all fraternity and sorority presidents met to discuss, the future of Greek life and how we can enhance the culture. Senator Faruqi and Senator Toplensky were at the meeting as well. If you just want to ask him about it later. But in this meeting, we discussed, a discussion of a joint statement, which Victoria will go over, discussion of current Greek chapters, current programming, discussion of an action plan moving forward, and transparency reports. Without further ado, I'll let Victoria go into, what the joint statement is about.
Yeah, so a lot of you might have seen it. It's being posted on Instagram today, and hopefully by tonight, all of the sororities and fraternities will have posted it as well. But essentially, we want to acknowledge our role in creating a culture that perpetuates sexual assault and harassment, and also talk about and the statement outlines some goals that we have for training that Oliver will mention in our action plan. But what I want to explain a little bit is the transparency reports that we mentioned, which will basically every month the IFC and Panhill will be posting things that are updating the general BU community on what individual chapters are doing in terms of programming for mental health, anti-hazing, diversity and inclusion, LGBTQ plus issues, and sexual assault, and anything else that were to come up. Like an example of something that would be in this and a change that Panhill has made is our new member education. Instead of reiterating anti-hazing and alcohol awareness and drug use awareness that we are consistently doing throughout people's membership in sororities, we're going to be replacing those modules with a body positivity and diet culture module and a safe sex practices and birth control options module. So that's a change that we're making, and it's just an example of something that we would highlight in those transparency reports. But for now, we're focusing on diversity, inclusion, and sexual assault awareness.
Yeah. So going into what this upcoming semester would be like, hosted by IFC, Panhill, and all fraternities and sororities. This is not the only things that fraternities and sororities will be working on. They run their own programming individually, but this is as a whole, as a collective. We will be running a sexual assault prevention seminar hosted by Greek Life and It's On Us. All Greek Life members will be required to go, and that will be occurring March 6th and March 7th in the morning, sometime between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's 2 hours each day to be specific. The theme of that is how could we create a safer campus, hosted by It's On Us. Then we'll be doing a diversity and inclusion discussion hosted by Greek Life, open to the entire BU community. It will be moderated by someone one of our ideas was maybe moderated by Dean Elmore. Hopefully we'll be able to work with the HTC, Center for Anti-Racist Research, and other student groups who would like to help out. And then lastly, we'll be running a Greek Life and It's On Us sexual assault prevention fundraiser that will occur sometime in April during Sexual Assault Prevention Month. The details of that are still to come, but we will update soon. Looking forward, Victoria, if you want to talk about the committees, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so we're creating two general Greek Life committees, which are open to all members of any sororities and fraternities within IFC and Panhill. And the two committees, one will be focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then the other will be sexual assault and harassment prevention. And this is not just, the president shrugging the responsibility off our shoulders, but we want to be able to do more than we're able to do collectively. So these people would be brainstorming and thinking of things to do on top of our action plan and helping us execute them. And we also think it'd be great to have more members involved in being able to give their voice and what they think should be changed in Greek Life. And they will be presenting at our monthly Greek Life leaders meetings with all the presidents to hopefully create some initiatives and get some stuff into action soon.
Yeah, and lastly, Victoria and I will be presenting once a month, for the rest of the semester, just on what's going on across Greek Life and how we can enhance the community. If you ever do have questions about, Greek Life in general, feel free to reach out to Victoria or myself. We're happy to answer any questions. But yeah, that's what we've been up to in the last couple of weeks. There's plenty more work to go, but it was a great step. This past meeting that we had with all Greek Life presidents was the first ever meeting between all presidents across sororities and fraternities on campus. So that was a big step and plenty of progress to go. So feel free to ask us any questions. Vinny, I'm not sure how long we have for questions, but Victoria and myself are happy to answer.
Well, we can give 10 minutes for questions if people have it. So if you guys have questions, raise your hand and we'll call on you.
That'd be great.
Any questions? Going once. Senator Casas.
It's not a question. It's just, this was a hot issue last semester, and I just want to say thank you for all the work that all of y'all involved have done. Creating something concrete was all that a lot of senators wanted, and this is, above and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Dye.
I was wondering if the PHC is planning to take any steps to make Greek life more accessible to students from low-income backgrounds.
I can't speak to IFC, but I can say that the Panhellenic Council is working on potentially completely eliminating recruitment fees for next recruitment. We weren't able to make that happen now, but we do probably have the budget to make that happen. So it's something I'm personally pushing for as president. But also, obviously, once you're in a sorority fraternity, there's dues to pay every semester. And so we're going to start really advertising and having even a spreadsheet of like the sort of scholarships and grants that people can apply to, because there are a surprising amount that people don't realize to help them, as well as committing any funds that we can from our Panhell budget that we're saving from doing on-campus recruitment toward helping members with dues.
Any additional questions? Going once.
Vinny,
Yes.
I'm gonna provide a resource. I'm gonna send it to you if you can just copy and paste the whole thing. This is our committee form. It has the descriptions of both the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee and the Sexual Assault Prevention Committee. There will be more to come. There will be more in the future, but as you can see, we've already had 20 plus people sign up for each one, and this has been open for a couple days. So plenty of great progress. But plenty more to go. So thank you all. And yeah, we're excited to present again in beginning of March.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. All right. Moving on to next point on the agenda is the leather apron plaque proposal. So,
hello guys, that would be me. Okay, so Leather Apron is presenting a plaque to be made for, I don't know if you guys saw it. I know that we haven't been able to walk around certain parts of campus for a while now, sadly, but there was a mural painted last summer of 2019 by some BU students, and the hallway in the back of the Gannis that people use as a shortcut between the two student villages. We are presenting that we have a plaque be made for these students to represent the artists who did them, because they all are BU students. They spent all summer doing it. They did such a great job. And it was a BU student government sponsored mural. So we're looking at, I've reached out to 4 Imprint because that's something that I've used for different student government things in the past. They are saying that a plaque that we are looking for to have all the students' names and recognize student government for their help funding this would be $100.69. Shipping is looking to be $9.06. But in the proposal, if you guys have read it, we just put any additional cost necessary for shipping. It should be just $9.06. But just in case they try and do an extra fee or a tax on top of that, I didn't want to have to come back to Senate and ask for $2. So we just did any additional cost necessary for shipping. And that's what we're looking for. Our main goal is that we just want to give these students the accolades that they deserve and commemorate them. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions, that's kind of short and sweet.
Let me just add something on before we get any questions in. I just wanted to say that the reason why this took so long was because we were trying to get this in motion last spring, but obviously Corona happened. And now that it's in the fall, we didn't know that this would be available, because if you don't know, the hallway between Stuvie 1 and Stuvie 2, the back of Aganis, that hallway is currently blocked off for all students because I think it's a COVID testing center. So you can't even really access that. So I assumed that that was not going to be a possibility to get anything there, but I talked to Dean B and he said that it would definitely be feasible, and he was all for getting a plaque, even though it's temporary, even though the mural is considered temporary. That's what we agreed upon prior to it being put up. Dean B and we believe it's important to give the artists the accolades they deserve, so that's why we decided to move on with this. So yeah, we can continue with questions.
All right, so we're gonna do a 10-minute Q&A session as usual. Senator Guan, you are up first.
I'm just curious, are we gonna be voting on giving the money out this week, or is this gonna be mention it this week and then it's gonna be brought up next week ordeal?
No, this is a this week ordeal. Only amendments are the holding for the
Okay,
weekend.
that was my question. Thank you.
Senator Casas.
I just have a point of clarification. We voted on this last semester to give them the funding for this plaque. It was a different amount. So I'm just like, I understand like the whole pandemic thing and, you know, but technically that money was already allocated to you as a club. So it was only $60 back then. So I think technically you would only have to ask for like $40.69. But I guess Judicial / Vinny might be able to clarify on that. But we have already voted on funding for a plaque, and it passed.
Which semester was this?
It was 2019, 2020. I can give you, it's called Proposal for Funds to Finish Student Government Mural Project. It was proposed in 2019, 2020.
October 28th.
October 28th?
Yes, it was the first thing on the agenda.
Okay. I, in all honesty, do not know what happened with that money. I don't know if that purchase ever went through.
I think what happened, if I can make a point of clear, because this was before, I remember because we were trying to get this to go into motion, and what we were doing is we were having trouble. We tried to get BU to buy it and to go through BU buying the plaque and then making it. And they ended up falling through with that. I'm not sure I know that Colin was in charge back then. I'm not sure if the money was given back or put toward, or what exactly happened there. But I do know that we had a lot of issues with BU, and so we had to go to a third party to get the plaque made.
And then to answer the question just quickly on the additional funding, the way I look at it, it's a new year, a new proposal. Therefore, there is a power to authorize a full purchase and not just an additional $40.
Senator D'Amato, can I say something really quickly about the money?
Yes.
I think that I'm not sure, really might be wrong, but I know that last year Lucas, who was the VP of Finance, should have kept a record of transactions and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that the current E-board should have access to all of that from last year. Again, I don't ask them to go, digging or anything, but if the money was given or if it was used, there should have been a record for it. And it's might be in the last E-board thing, if that helps. Just wanted to point that.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to move on to the next question, though, because we do have a couple more hands. So Senator Teplinsky.
Hello. So my question's not really about the money. It's just on, I guess, will this plaque actually become a reality? I'm going back in the minutes. 10/28, we voted on it. And then December 2nd, I asked, is the plaque happening? And then again, I asked on March 2nd of 2020. I am more than excited to vote yes, but I would like some confirmation on deadlines on when this plaque will actually be up.
Well, once we be given the money, we will order the plaque right away. We'll make sure to update you guys at the next Senate. And once we have the plaque, we'll be dropping it off to BU operations and management, and they will be in charge of hanging it up.
Awesome. An update sounds good. Thank you.
Vice President DeArmas, do you want to talk briefly on the money situation?
Yeah, hi guys. I don't know what really you guys are talking about because it was from a prior year. I am looking at the transaction right now, like the transaction analysis that Jess was just talking about. So if whoever has like all the information about whatever transaction it is, I can look through it. I can't find it right now because it is just like hundreds of transactions, but I'll definitely look into it if someone can just send me the information.
Senator Faruqi.
So y'all mentioned that Dean B said it was a temporary mural. Do you know when it's planning to be removed or painted over, if that is a plan?
There is no current plan to paint over it or to remove it. I think that they just made it a stipulation when they were hanging up the mural that it's not going to be there forever, that they could potentially have other artists come in, do something different with that area if they wanted. But for right now, it is here to stay, and they have no further plans to take it down or do something else with it. But good question.
Senator Aracena.
Yeah, so my thing was I want to know what, for one, the plaque will look like. And I would like to know if the full name of the artists will be on this list. For one, I am friends with a good portion of that artist. I was there the whole summer with him. I even painted a lot of the little pads myself. I'm not going to consider myself a main artist, but you know, it's personal. You know, that was my summer of 2019, and we have been waiting a very, very long time for this plaque. And my party is small, smaller by the day, sadly. But one of them, the one I live with, she really would like this plaque up. So I just want to know if the full list of names for all the artists will be there, and I would like to see what the plaque would look like before we purchase it.
Yes, so we do plan to include all the artist names. Don't worry, everyone will be included. I didn't see your name, John Michael, but
No,
if you would like us to
there's
reconsider.
a whole story about why I ended up painting the mural, and it's dramatic and not important, and I don't really need my name up there. It's not that important. If anyone wants to know that story, I will tell them after unofficially.
We'll save it for open forum.
John Michael, well, actually, I don't know if I can share my screen and show you, but I was just gonna say, like, we are gonna order this as soon as we get like the funding. So if you want to see it, maybe I could, if Vinny thinks it's okay, I could share my screen and show something of like what it would roughly look like.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing, and then, all right, you should be able to do it.
Point of inquiry, while, if that's possible.
Let's just look at this first and then I'll get to the point, just because she already has it up. So that's the plaque.
Point of order, Juliana, you're muted right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so this is exactly what the plaque is gonna look. Well, not exactly what it's gonna look like. Healy has the exact measurements. It's gonna be much smaller, but it's gonna have, I believe, everything that's on here just in like smaller font, I believe.
Yes, this is what this format is what I talked about with when I was on the phone call with the people at Fort Imprint. This is what I sent over to them. This is what they approved for the pricing. So this is what it should look like with spacing and everything.
All right, thank you. I will go back to sharing my screen. That should be all good now, and let me get participants back up. All right, the point of inquiry from Evan.
Yes, this is directed towards Senator John Michael. Is a yes or no, did you work on the mural as an artist?
Yeah.
Yes, then may I motion to add Senator John Michael Aracena's name to the plaque?
Can I make a point? I just, we can try if that's something that John Michael would really like, but with trying to get the spacing on the plaque and to keep the price down, they might change the price if I add more writing to the mock-up that I already sent.
I'm going to officially say it now. I don't need my name on the plaque. The memories is enough recognition for me. Thank you.
All right, Senator Casas.
I'm a freak and went through the transactions, and the money wasn't spent. So I don't know, like judicial might have to clarify, but technically that money was already allocated to you and it's unused and there's no time limit on it. So you would only technically need to ask for $40, even though you would be using 169 cents, but that's just because I'm a freak. So just wanted to clarify that for y'all. I did go through the transactions.
Point of
Thank you.
clarification. If there's a contingency that the money will be returned, like the excess, would it be possible just to vote for the 169 and then everything will just be returned in excess?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay.
If they're allocated to use so many funds, and then whatever's not used just probably goes back and is put back into the larger budget. I don't know if Vice President DeArmas can speak more to that. If she's still here, I don't know if she is, but all right. Seeing that Q&A time has elapsed, I will now open the floor to any points or motions. Senator Guan.
Motion to enter discussion for 4 minutes, or no, actually let's do 3 minutes.
Okay, so motion is to move into a discussion period for 3 minutes.
Second.
Do I hear a second? Second, all right. Raise your hand if you are voting in the affirmative. We are looking for 2/3 here. Mr. Vice Chair, do you have 25 votes?
I have 26 votes.
26 votes. All right, so we have 26 votes. Everyone, please lower your hands. We're going to look for any abstentions in the count. Is there anyone who abstains to this motion? Seeing no abstentions, the motion fails. I will again open the floor to any points or motions. Senator Teplinsky.
Motion to move into voting procedure.
Second.
All right, motion to move into voting procedure. Again, need a 2/3 supermajority here. So everyone, please raise your hands in the chat if you are voting in the affirmative. Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a supermajority?
I have a supermajority.
All right, so with that, we are going to move into voting procedure. Again, the floor is open to any points or motions.
Just because
Actually, I need to lower everyone's hands. That's on me. Senator Teplinsky.
Motion to vote on leather apron plaque proposal.
Second.
All right, so with that, motion is to vote on the proposal. Please raise your hands. We are looking for a simple majority vote in the affirmative to pass the motion.
Point of inquiry, would it be possible for me to provide more information about this plaque? Just knowing that I know quite a lot about it.
A point of information is to ask, not provide.
No, I said point of inquiry, just like asking, like, can I do that, I guess? Or point of information, yeah.
Technically, no. That has to be brought up in discussion. We are in a motion to vote right now. My apologies. All right, Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a simple majority?
Yep, I have a simple majority.
All right, so with that, the motion passes. We are now going to vote on the bill. People who aren't in the Slack, please private message me. Mr. Vice Chair, if you could put the voting form in the Slack.
Bear with me. This is being slow. It should be in the Slack in a moment. Voting form should be in the Slack now.
All right. I will give everyone a minute and a half starting now. Thirty seconds for anyone who has not voted yet. Five, four, three, two, one. All right, with that, I'm going to close the voting form. And with 31 votes in the affirmative, congratulations, the resolution passes.
We'll make sure to update you guys. We're gonna now, since we have the funds, we'll go ahead, order it well, probably tomorrow, because I'll probably go to bed right after this, but tomorrow morning we'll put the order and we'll update you guys next meeting. So thank you.
All right, so moving on to open forum. So are there any points that people wish to bring up in open forum today? Senator Bale.
Hello. Just a reminder to lead senators, please complete reviewing your constitutional review package sent to you by the Rules Committee. Review it, even if you're good with all of the changes you saw. Please let the Rules Committee know, because we want to make sure that when we start bringing this legislation forward, we want to make sure it goes smoothly. So please review that. And you are encouraged to bring it to some of your fellow senators within your constituency and your department if you would like. But please make sure you send that feedback over to myself, Senator Faruqi, or more ideally, Senator Cole, who is the chairperson of the Rules Committee. Thank you. That is all.
Senator Faruqi.
Speaking of the Rules Committee, if you're interested in participating in any of the amendments to amending Bill 001, please contact me. And also sign up for the environmental justice event. It's going to be like literally very cool. So show up, please.
Senator Toplensky.
Hi all. Senate Chair, is it okay if I share my screen? I have a picture.
All right.
It is appropriate. I would say that.
Yeah. Okay. Just make sure you only share that and nothing else in your computer. Yep. Hold on.
Of course. Of course. So this is a very important topic to me, and I'm sure it is a very important topic to a lot of us. The first thing I'm going to say is that I will be talking about sexual assault, just as a trigger warning. And additionally, none of these slides, please do not share them with anyone. And yes, so with
Senator Toplensky, this is recorded and live streamed and made public.
Yes, I know.
Which is already public.
Anyone watching or anyone who would plan to watch, I think they'll have already been posted, so it'll be okay. I'm just asking not to share them on their own social media yet.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yep, of course. So as you may have seen on social media, there is a lovely individual named Prisha. She is one of the founders for Campus Survivors, which you may know about. It's an Instagram campaign that posts stories about survivors of sexual assault, not only for Boston University, but also for other colleges nearby and out of state. She posted one in the summer, and she also posted one in January. And I apologize. And since then, nothing has really changed except for Greek life. I'm leaving Greek life out of this because a lot has changed and they are changing for the better and improving on a lot of things. But with regards to administration, there isn't any real change on accountability. So Prisha is hosting, and on Facebook, I sent Chair if you could put it in the chat. It is a bit.ly to the protest that will be happening on Sunday into Monday. I implore, I beg, just if you can show up for 5 minutes, put something on the chalk. We'll have chalk on the sidewalks. If you can hang up a poster, if you're in LFA, I'll show you these slides. I'll go through them. There's ways you can get involved. This is a huge request that I'm asking because it is taking on administration. I know that, but that is really the only way. The demands aren't in here. I apologize. I downloaded the wrong files, but it is really the only way to actually get change. There has been over, I think, 30 to 40 posts and stories alone on Campus Survivors about Boston University. And personally, that angers me. And that is just insane that there's that many cases of sexual assault on our campus. This is an issue we need to solve. So Savannah is also working on this. 16K is also working on this. We are really just pushing and pushing as much as we can. This is also not updated. There's about 30 student groups who have pledged that they're also going to be posting and having their members protest with us. So that's my spiel. I implore you all, please, 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 if you're in a student group, message me, talk to your e-board if you would like to join the list. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yeah, my question's for Evan. I was wondering what the conversations were like. I'm just not aware of this, and I'm curious what the conversations were like with administration, whether it was Prisha. If I pronounced her name wrong, my apologies. But what the conversations were like, and the protest, when the protest ends, what are next steps after that? What's the action plan?
Of course. So a lot of it is culminating to the protest. I'm trying to, if it's okay, Savannah, just give me a heads up. Can I show the email that you?
Yeah, I was just actually texting you the link right now.
Awesome. Is it a bit.ly or I can just pull it up. So this is also, I apologize for not downloading the right files, but there are 5 demands right now that I think will help explain what is trying to, I'm sharing my screen, what we're trying to accomplish. Here we go. So the first one, if I don't remember the word correctly. Okay, is just a public statement acknowledging that sexual assault.
I can't see it, I think.
Oh, let me share my
screen. See it, or is it just me?
Point of order, Zoom has multiple screen sharing enabled. In order to see the second screen, hit view options at the top, and then you can select Senator Toplinski's screen.
My bad.
Oh, cool. Okay. So let me just scroll down to the demands. The first one is a public statement acknowledging sexual assault on campus, on BU, that this happens a lot. The second is implementing a zero tolerance policy for faculty. Third, implementing that same policy for student organizations. Fourth, having an anonymous reporting and strike system. And fifth is expanding SARP resources. To go more in depth about your question, we are hoping that by creating all this noise, by showing that this isn't just one student group, this isn't just one person talking about this issue, this is 50, 100 student groups of Boston University saying we want our administrators to take action. We are hoping that they will take action. So I don't know if Prisha has more plans to work directly with administrators, but I hope that answers very in depth.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna put the screen share back on me. All right. Let me bring this back up. All right. Are there any additional things that people wish to bring up? Senator Balboa?
I just had a follow-up question involving the BUPD when it was like talking about having watch over each report that's made. I was wondering what exactly that meant.
May I defer that to, if it's not too much, put Savannah on the spot, but if she can.
Yeah, I can kind of touch on that. We Evan mentioned this. We are still kind of finalizing up some of the points here, but our ultimate goal is to kind of have SARP be expanded to the point where they can work alongside a police escort, or whether that responsibility gets, if the report submitted has sexual assault in the title, then that gets overseen by someone affiliated with SARP or SARP training. We also don't know how monitored those police reports are, but we're hoping that we hope that opens up a conversation. And we also do kind of want to see for those reports that do say sexual assaults, are they monitoring the areas? What's the follow through? What's the checkup with that? If that helps clarify.
Any additional questions on this topic? I will put that in the chat, Evan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Senator Yu, do you have something for open forum, or are you going to make a motion?
I have something for open forum.
Go right ahead.
I just wanted to touch base. I was wondering if anybody had gotten their Senate quarter zip or sweater.
I can address that. Yeah, so the boxes were supposed to deliver right before December break. But because the SAO office was unfortunately closed, they couldn't ship it there. So the boxes have delivered this week, and Naya and myself will be bringing them to the student government office either Thursday or Friday. From there, in the email that Naya is going to be sending you all with the schedule of when the executive branch will be showing up to Senate, she'll also include about the apparel. So you will be hearing about that this week.
Any additional points? Brandon, is that another point or a
This
motion?
is a motion now.
Okay, before we get to that motion, because I'm pretty sure I know what that motion is unless it's something different. Just to address my bill from before, because we unofficially put it to rules, I believe proper procedure, since that's unofficial, is that it will still be brought to the floor next Monday. I was messaged a official way to do it, but because this is my bill, I just want to ask for personal preference that we delay officially delegating it and just see what conversations happen this week. And if next week it is still the will of the body, or it is the will of the body to officially delegate it to the rules committee, then by all means, we can go ahead and do that. But just to clarify to you all what the proper procedure I think is going forward here, just so you aren't surprised if no vote happens tonight and you see it again on the agenda on Monday. All right. So with that, any points or motions or anything else people want to bring up? Senator Yu.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
I got it though.
All right. Raise your hands if you're looking to vote in the affirmative on this. We are looking for a 2/3 supermajority. Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a supermajority?
Yep.
All right, with that, the motion has passed. The meeting has adjourned. Thank you all so much. Have a great night. Have a great week, and I will see you all again on Monday if I don't see you sooner.